Okay. I like that chorus a lot, actually. You left me now. You left me now. You left it outside. La 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 la. All right, we're not going to do a long intro today because we got 2 songs to get to and we don't have a lot of time. Welcome back to my channel. Andy here. Hope you're doing well. We're going to do 2 songs today, the bonus tracks off of Taylor Swift's Evermore album. But first, I want to do, I just want to vent a little bit. So Taylor Swift has announced a new album called Midnights, plural. I almost always avoid music industry news because I hate the music industry. Though I'm a part of it very, very tangentially. I love music. I really despise a lot of music culture. Like, I grew up going to punk shows and hardcore shows. You have a very strict dress code. You have a very strict kind of hair code. I mean, it's every type of music, really. There's like this culture of what you have to do and how you have to look, how you have to be in order to be involved in the music. And then you get into music snobbery and what is music and what isn't music. It's always, always, always arbitrary, entirely based on people's projections and insecurities. I put a video up on my Patreon kind of previewing, just reading an article about what we can expect from that. If you want to check that out, please do. There's like this whole thing about the fashion of how she looks and how her dress style or whatever is going to like affect the album, or how it foretells what's going to be on the album. And people are like, oh, it's fashion and it's music, and so therefore it's shallow. It's amazing to me because there's such a specific dress code to almost every type of music out there. So as we go into this whole hullabaloo with Taylor Swift doing the fashion thing and bringing out the album, and everybody trashing her because she's a fashion person, just remember they all have very specific fashion. They all have incredibly specific fashions that they all live by, and they change their thinking to accommodate it. They will force themselves not to like music if it doesn't fit in a certain kind of criteria. Just pity those people and just enjoy the music you want to enjoy. And let's today enjoy the 2 bonus tracks from Evermore. What a transition. That's amazing. That's an amazing transition. And here we go with It's Time to Go, the first bonus track off Evermore.
When the dinner is cold and the chatter gets old, you ask for the tab. Oh, that moment again, he's insisting that friends look at each other like that. When the words of a sister come back in whispers that prove she was not, in fact, what she seemed, not a twin from your dreams. She's a crook who was caught. That old familiar body ache, the snaps from the same little breaks in your soul. You know when it's time to go. At your job, then the son or the boss gets the spot that was yours. We're trying to save for the kids when keeping it how it is will only break the hearts worse. That old familiar body ache, the snaps from the same little breaks in your soul. You know when it's time to go.
Very subtle beginning, kind of starting in that power chord sound a little bit. Kind of a way we haven't heard yet on this album. When your dinner is cold and the chatter gets old and you ask for the tab. Now the moment again, he's insisting that friends look each other like that. Or you could do it. Kind of like that, but it sounds a little bit better, more power chord style here. It really sounds like she's just in your ear. There's almost no effect on the vocal. It might have been something where you're like, it's a bonus track. We don't need to put a bunch of extra stuff on it. I like that. I love just hearing somebody's vocal, like they're singing right up close to you. Like, I don't put anything on my vocal in this. I don't put anything on the guitar. I like just kind of being kind of brutal and open and just kind of crummy. Sometimes you want to ask, like, why was something made a bonus song? Why wasn't? Sometimes it's like, you know what? We have all these songs. They all have the same kind of vibe and minimalistic feel. Do we want to put out a 15-song album? I'd say put out a 15-song album if you want to. I've done it. But it's also something where, like, yeah, you can have these little bonus tracks. But in terms of sound, I don't think it needs to be off the album. To me, it's on par with the other stuff on the album. I think sometimes they don't want to overindulge in certain sound or something like that. I get that impulse. When your dinner is cold and the chatter gets old, you ask for the tab. On the moment again, he's insisting that friends look at each other like that. I love this lyric. The first thing I thought was she's on a date with a friend who's trying to like get out of friend jail, out of the friend zone. But no, that's not what it is. He's saying that he's just friends with this other girl and they're just looking at each other. Or that moment again, she says. It seems to be about catching somebody you're with somebody else. When the words of a sister come back in whispers, that proves she was not in fact what she seemed. Not a twin from your dreams. She's a crook who was caught. A lot of the later part of this album really seems to be about her coming through and like learning and growing up a bit. And I love that type of a theme. Like I love her, like not falling into sensationalism. That old familiar body ache snaps from the same little breaks in your soul. It's time to go. So I like that chorus, livens up the song a lot, has that beautiful lower harmony under it, and just has that kind of sweet kind of bluesy sound that brings it back a little bit. This is not a bad song. I can see that it is a little bit underdeveloped, that they would probably add a bunch more stuff if they put it on the album. The old familiar body ache, the snaps from the same little break in your soul, you know when it's time to go. Your heart's going to break a bunch of times in your life, and it's unfortunate, but it'll happen. And yeah, every time it happens, you get that same kind of like familiar, horrible feel, you know, and it's like, great, another relationship just kind of torn asunder here. 20 years at your job, then the son of the boss gets a spot that was yours. We're clearly now singing about stuff that she hasn't experienced. The old adage of the boss's son getting the gig, you know, I think that's very true to life. Especially in entertainment. Moving on, I think that's probably true everywhere outside of Hollywood too. It's who you know. It's who you know, who owes who a favor, who knows what about whom, or trying to stay for the kids when keeping it how it is will only break their hearts worse. So now we're talking about maybe getting divorced, not getting divorced. Very hot button issue. I remember when I was a kid, there was a woman named Dr. Laura who had very, very specific advice to all couples with a child to never get divorced, that getting divorced would be the absolute worst thing for the children of the couple. And then a lot of other people who have said, actually, yes, divorce was really hard, but it was ultimately the best thing. And my parents are friends, and they're able to, we're able to figure it out, and there isn't a tremendous amount of animosity there because, they spent the time and they did it right. They broke up right, I have a good friend of mine, an old friend, who is a lawyer, and he does divorces. And he would tell me about these things and how people destroy each other through divorces, and just the underhanded, dastardly things. And he says, like, all divorce lawyers are like planning on getting out of it. They hate it. It's awful. It's like the worst form of law. I don't know if that's true. That's what he told me. And it's probably still a huge issue for a lot of people. Divorce is a sin for a lot of people. So
sometimes giving up is the strong thing. Sometimes to run is the brave thing. Sometimes walking out is the one thing that will find you the right thing. Sometimes giving up is the strong thing. Sometimes to run is the brave thing. Sometimes walking out is the one thing that will find you the right thing.
I like the added Kind of has that sound we've heard maybe a little before in the album, a really kind of smoothed over, kind of rounded over bass sound from an acoustic guitar maybe. Just kind of getting that edge of guitar back in there. This seems like a guitar song, and maybe one she'd play live. Just this quick little 16th note beat here, keeping everything moving even though we have these slow kind of... Sometimes giving up is the strong thing. Sometimes to run is the brave thing, right? Exactly. Like if you think of running, like, you know, Tina Turner. If you think of a woman who has to run from, let's say, an abusive husband, and she's got to get her kids in the car and a bunch of luggage for them, and she can't wake them up. I'm thinking of the Tina Turner scene, obviously, from Love Got to Do with It. That's a perfect example of when running is the strong thing or the brave thing. In any self-defense class you take, good ones will tell you, run. Get the F out of there, because likely you're probably going to get hurt or worse.
15 years, 15 million tears, begging till my knees bled. I gave it my all, he gave me nothing at all, then wondered why I left. Now he sits on his throne in his palace of bones, praying to his greed. He's got my past frozen behind glass, but I've got me. That old familiar body ache that snaps from the same little breaks in my soul. I know when it's time to go. Sometimes giving up is the strong thing. Sometimes to run is the brave thing. Sometimes walking out is the one thing that will find you the right thing.
15 years, 15 million tears, begging till my knees bled. I gave it my all, he gave me nothing at all, then wondered why I left. Now, normally I would assume that this is about a personal relationship in Taylor Swift's life, but I think this is about the Scooter Braun thing. I mean the Scott Borchetta thing. Scott Borchetta thing. They're both SB names. Scooter Braun is the agent. Scott Borchetta is the producer. I'm sorry, I meant Scott Borchetta. The producer in her life who basically cut off her ability to control her own music, stabbed her in the back after years of kind of working with her. All kinds of gross, horrible stuff happened in it. You guys know about this way better than I do. It's funny, like begging doesn't seem like her now. Maybe she wouldn't be a beggar now. Maybe she would be more kind of forceful about it. Now he sits on his throne in his palace of bones, so kind of like palace of ashes, palace of bone, kind of a worthless kind of empty feeling, you know, like one of those big beautiful houses that you're in, but it just feels soulless. You know, you kind of get that picture. Praying to his greed. He's got my past frozen behind glass, but I've got me. And this also, by the way, could work for a personal relationship. You could think like, oh man, I gave my best years to that dude, you know, but I've got me. I came out on the other end. I'm a human being, and I'm me, and I get to be me for the rest of my life, and he has to be him. Sucks to be him. I've got me. Lovely sentiment. Like, I've found myself in all these years and all this stuff. I've learned this. She almost always commodifies herself in a song, which shows to go kind of how she's looked at herself throughout her whole life. I've got me.
Sometimes giving up is the strong thing. Sometimes to run is the brave thing. Sometimes walking out is the one thing that will find you the right thing. That will find you the right thing.
Very country here.
You know, in your soul, then you go. You just go.
Really nice sounding country style, acoustic twangy guitars mixing in with the violins and some of the other effects there. Brings in a nice extra feel to the song. We even get a bit of a kind of a light chorus and solo there at the end. That will find you the right thing, and you know in your soul when it's time to go, you know when it's time to go. It's a showbiz thing too. It's about knowing when to get off stage, knowing when you've hit that high note and get on out of there, right? Yes, I see why it's not on the album. No, I don't think it's really beneath the other songs. I think it's on par with the other songs. Not as complex as a lot of the other ones. Maybe it was just too stripped down and too simplistic. The bridge doesn't really do anything super crazy. And most of the songs on the album, they do something kind of super crazy, kind of unexpected. They kind of try to throw kind of monkey wrenches into their own writing technique, and maybe they just did less of that here and just felt less inspired. That's my guess. Okay, now the second bonus track is called Right Where You Left Me, or the first. I don't know if I'm doing this in the right order. You will yell at me in the comments if I am not.
Up, friends get married, strangers get born, strangers get buried. Trends change, rumors fly through new skies, but I'm right where you left me. Matches burn after the other, pages turn and stick to each other. Wages earned and lessons learned, but I'm right where you left me. Help, I'm still at the restaurant, still sitting in a corner I haunt. Cross-legged in the dim light, they say what a sad sight. I swear you could hear a hairpin drop right when I felt the moment stop. Glass shattered on the white cloth, everybody moved on. I stayed there, dust collected on my pinned up hair. They expected me to find somewhere some perspective, but I sat and stared right where you left me. You left me, no. You left me, no. You left me no choice but to stay here forever. You left me. You left me, no. Oh, you left me, no. You left me no choice but to stay here forever.
Woo, okay. I like that chorus a lot, actually. You left me no. You left me no. You left it out. You left me no. You left me no. You left me no choice but to stay here forever. Kind of like a classic bluesy kind of chorus. Really like that chorus. I'm more surprised that this song didn't make the album. What a pretty harmony in that chorus too. Like, that's good. That's good. The song opens up kind of quaint and like kind of falsely cheerful. You can tell there's a little bit of a like murkiness on the horizon. There's some sort of a storm coming through. Friends break up, friends get married, strangers get born, strangers get buried. Trends change, rumors fly, new skies, but I'm right here where you left me. I mean, I guess, you know, people will say, oh, I married my best friend, but it's a kind of an interesting way to put that. Friends break up, friends get married, strangers get born, strangers get buried, as if kind of all these people are just statistics. Matches burn after the other, pages turn and stick to each other, wages earned and lessons learned, but I'm right where you left me. Throughout this album, it really seems like she's broadening beyond just the like girl singing to boy song. Like there seems to be much more of a broadening kind of perspective on the music here, like more philosophical, more kind of about the world in which she lives rather than kind of either apologizing for herself or apologizing to somebody else. She's the kind of object here. She's been left, she's been placed or put somewhere. Help, I'm still at the restaurant, still sitting in a corner I haunt, cross-legged in the dim light, they say, what a sad night. This seems to be about a woman who is stuck in a job at a restaurant. We're kind of picturing, I guess, kind of a dingy diner, somewhere you don't want to be. I swear, you could hear a pin drop right when I felt the moment stop. Glass shattered on the white cloth. Everybody moved on. I stayed there. So something happened. Broken glass, some sort of accident. She just stayed at this job. I stayed there, dust collected on my pinned up hair. They expected me to find somewhere some perspective, but I sat and stared. And I don't think she's trashing restaurant workers here. I think she's kind of discussing somebody. It could be anywhere. It could be a restaurant. It could be someplace else, a gas station or an office job or something where somebody feels maybe like they're spinning their wheels a little bit and not fulfilling their destiny. But there are plenty of people who like work at these restaurants who don't see it as like the kind of dread that other people do.
Did you ever hear about the girl who got frozen? Time went on for everybody else, she won't know it. She's still 23, inside her fantasy, how it was supposed to be. Did you hear about the girl who lives in delusion? Breakups happen every day, you don't have to lose it. She's still 23, inside her fantasy, and you're sitting in front of me at the restaurant when I was still the one you want. Cross-legged in the dim light, everything was just right. I could feel the mascara run. You told me that you met someone. Glass shattered on the white cloth, everybody moved on. Help, I'm still at the restaurant, still sitting in a corner I haunt. Cross-legged in a dim light, they say what a sad sight. I stayed there, dust collected on my pinned up hair. I'm sure that you got a wife out there, kids and Christmas, but I'm unaware, 'cause I'm right where I cause no harm. Mind my business, if I love died young, I can't bear witness, and it's been so long. If you ever think you got it wrong, I'm right where you left me. You left me, no. You left me, no. You left me no choice but to stay here forever. You left me. You left me, no. You left me, no. You left me no choice but to stay here forever.
I really like that chorus. I could almost hear it a few more times if they chose to include it. But, you know, less is more. Again, keeping the audience on their edge of their seat. Did you ever hear about the girl who got frozen? Time went on, everybody else, she won't know it. She's still 23 inside her fantasy, how it was supposed to be. Now, I wonder if she's talking about herself in these things, too, because we're always kind of talking about ourselves when we're writing songs. Like, I'm delusional. I've made these mistakes too, and we all do. I mean, not all of us become like people who just freeze our love onto one person we can't have, but sometimes we also just we refuse to understand a relationship in a certain way, or we refuse to understand a person in a certain way. And I'm like, oh no, they're fine. They're not a bad person. But you don't realize that everybody else has realized this person's a POS. There's like a sense of irony here. Did you hear about the girl who lives in delusion? Breakups happen every day. You don't have to lose it. She's still 23 inside her fantasy, and you're still sitting in front of me. Oh man, this actually really reminds me of a friend of mine who will remain nameless, who fell in love with someone when they were 15 or 16. And this was years ago. It was in a kind of camp scenario. I'm friends with this person, and the person they were in a relationship with was my roommate at the time. And they broke up. My roommate moved on. My friend never did. And it's not that they refused to move on and refused to acknowledge it. They acknowledge it. They're still in love with this person. They're open about it, and even though it's been many, many years. And in a sense, it kind of goes along with the theme of this album of kind of growing up. And I'm not going to tell anybody who to love. I'm not going to say to you that you're wrong for loving somebody or wrong for holding on to your love for somebody. But I do think that it can be detrimental. We see these movies and we read these stories and we have these idealized versions, and there's the thing of like there's one person for everybody out there. Like if there's one person for everybody out there, then it's a miracle anybody ever finds each other. Right? It's just absurd. Like that would be crazy. At the restaurant, when I was still the one you want, cross-legged in the dim light, everything was just right. I could feel the mascara run. She's like reliving the moment. We get images almost like a car accident. You know, I could feel the mascara run. You told me that you met someone, glass shattered. It's just kind of, it's almost, you know, it's like her life stopped in this moment. Everybody moved on except for her, it would seem. Right. So then we go back through the chorus. But this time we come to kids and Christmas, but I'm unaware because I'm right where I cause no harm, mind my business. If our love died young, I can't bear witness. And it's been so long, but you ever think you got it wrong? It's such a sad song. She's chosen to stay heartbroken. She's chosen to stay alone and to not bear witness to the death of their love. Our love lives. You're in denial. You're in delusion. Did you ever think you're the one who's wrong? Making peace with the delusional part of yourself, or the part of yourself that is, it's like your inner child, the part of yourself that kind of operates on emotion and reactivity. That's a big part of growing up. I mean, that's a big part of making peace with the relationships you've had and with the relationships you want to have. And it's a sad song because we picture this person who's never going to move on, who's never going to, or from what it seems in the song, who's never going to fall in love again. They're going to stay in love with this one person. They'd rather be in love with this one person and have it be unrequited or distant than to keep going through it. I mean, than to keep trying and failing. I mean, it's so hard out there. I mean, it's hard out there for everybody who's single or even if you're not single. Sometimes maybe it's just easier to just that first person that opened up your heart in that way to just stay in love with them and never let them go. It's a kind of childishness, but it seems like something that she's describing in herself, even though we know she's moved on and we know she's kind of come out of this. I would have loved to see this song on the album. I think it probably would have struck a really nice tone, especially at the end of the album. But it's a good album. It's an interesting album. Like, I really enjoyed listening to it and finding the different kind of things that I like about it. We will do the definitive, my top 10 songs from Taylor Swift so far, my Evermore, Folklore, and some of the acoustic stuff she did with a Tiny Desk. Well, these will all be involved. I might actually do Evermore and Folklore in their own category, and then kind of previous stuff that she's played acoustically that I've done other videos for. Maybe have a separate category for that, but I'm going to put some thinking into it. We'll figure it out. Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. I've really enjoyed reacting to this album. More Taylor Swift content to come soon. We'll definitely have the Judgment videos up soon. Hopefully, Universal Music will stop demonetizing these videos, which would be lovely. Okay, anyway, until next time, everybody, keep playing.